Let's talk about podcast attribution, because at the end of the day, we're spending all this money. We better sure as hell know that we're spending it the right way. It is incredibly important to measure what's happening with your podcast ads so you can understand if your money's going to the right place. You want to think about podcast ads just like you do Meta or Google ads. So you're going to set up pixels, you're going to set up the right links, and you're going to be measuring to the dollar, period. There's a couple ways to do attribution. Now, the first is that you could just use your basic promo code. And this can work pretty well if you measure it, but you're probably missing the full story. And this is where audio pixels come in. You want to put an audio pixel on your website. So when you run an ad, you're going to tell the host to go and put this into the audio episode, and you're going to be able to see of how many people listened to this one given episode, how many sales were made, how many website visitors did we see. And from there, we're going to make very basic calculations to determine if this was a good ad or it didn't do so well. So let's walk through the actual math in a simple way. Say that you buy a 20,000 impression podcast for $500. Pretty normal, good price, decent price. Then you actually run the ad and you see of the 20,000, well, 100 came and hit and visited your website. Okay, sounds reasonable. Now, of that 100, now we saw 20 of them go and purchase a product for $50. We now have made $1,000 from our $500 ad. We've doubled our investment from one ad. That's pretty cool because we just tried this one show, and usually we would hope that, we broke even, but we're actually doubling the amount we put in. This is how you need to think. And this is the simple math that most people use when they do podcast advertising. So these audio pixels can sound a bit daunting, a bit techno jumbo mumbo, but really it's just a snippet that you put onto your website just the same way that you would put a AdWords tracking code or a Meta tracking code onto the website. And there's perfectly good providers you can use like Podscribe, Magellan, Claritos to do this. In fact, on SpotsNow, we make it really easy, so you don't have to think about this stuff. Let's talk about promo codes, because not every promo code is equal. You need to make sure that you have unique identifiers for every show. Sounds super simple and basic, but it's true. And the easier the promo code is to remember, the more likely it is that people are going to use it. So just remember that. And there's a little hack that most people use in the industry. The show typically has their own promo code. And so all you need to do is ask the show what their typical promo code is and then track that against their sales. That way, the audience is familiar, they're going to remember it, and you're going to be able to see the best possible attribution from your promo codes. It wouldn't be attribution if we didn't think about the ad and how the ad was structured, because it all ties together. So when you're creating a podcast ad, you need to work with the host to make sure it's personalized, but you need to make sure that you hammer in that the call to action has to be this. It has to be like so. If you don't, you leave it up to the host's creativity. And sometimes it's very common that they just will put the wrong promo code in or they'll say the wrong thing. So be very, very explicit that this is exactly what the host needs to say at the end of your ad. Some people ask, do we need a unique URL or landing page that is tied to the show? Well, if you have audio pixels, you really don't. Obviously, whenever you're running an ad, the more that ad matches the destination, the better the conversion is. So if you do have a simple setup where you can go and make the ad personalized to that given show, do it. This is what all the best people do. This is what BetterHelp does and AG1 does. They put, the host image on the actual landing page. And so when you get there, they leverage that trust and people buy. One of the most frustrating things about podcast advertising is you gotta wait. And humans typically aren't patient. We love things now, but it's worth it because you can outperform all the other industries that you're advertising in if you do it right. So how long do you have to wait? Typically, you want to wait about 3 weeks. It's on-demand media. Not everyone listens all at once. It takes a while to get through. After about 3 weeks, you can see the majority of the impressions have come through, and then you can start getting serious about your numbers. So the good news is if you're using audio pixels, you'll be able to see the results on your audio pixel provider. We do this at SpotsNow, so it's out of the box, it's easy. In fact, we help you with the landing page, the promo code. We give you guidance along the way so you can get this right. And often there's a lot of back and forth between a show and an advertiser trying to figure out what the promo code is, the timing, etc. The thing that we did at SpotsNow is we made this automated. So it just pings the show with all of the relevant details they need, and we guide you along the way so you don't overlook critical stuff that's literally going to be the difference between a high-performing ad or one that is misassessed and tanks. With all that said, you're probably getting excited. It's a very, very cool channel, and there's results for so many brands waiting to happen. But you got to get started, and it's got to be easy. Go to SpotsNow, get set up, find your last minute spot opportunities, look around, set up your demographics, and get your first test going. It's very simple. We'll see you there. Stay tuned for the final video of the series where we're going to talk about how to launch your podcast advertising.